Suella Braverman, who has been talking with such power about curtailing people's right to protest, has been on the Greek island of Samos to learn how Greeks deal with um, migration. Well, I can tell her. I can tell her. There are two ways that Greeks have been dealing with migration in the last 20 years, in the last 23 years, and I have experience of it. One way is a thing called pushback, which has resulted in quite a number of deaths, where they literally push the boat back into the water or push the refugees who are trying to cling on to rocks back into the water, and some of them die. And the other way is to terrorize people who are held in captivity. There was a group held in captivity on the island of Crete in Chania, and many of them were abused physically. One of them, who I know very well, was raped, and we took the case through the European Court of Human Rights and found that Greece had behaved appallingly. Greece was ordered by the European Court of Human Rights to change its law in three respects, and so far, 20 odd years down the line, it hasn't done that. So we're still waiting for Greece to do what the European Court of Human Rights suggested it should do, ordered it to do, changing its laws to meet the demands of basic humanitarian expectations. And Greece has failed. So to go to Greece to find out what is best practice for dealing with migrants, and I entirely understand that Greece is overwhelmed by migration because of the exigencies of the Dublin III protocol, which would have been useful for us, is not useful for Greece, because that protocol ensures that when people arrive in Europe, they should be processed and given sanctuary in the first country that they arrive at, which of course means that the poorer southern countries of Europe are shouldering the burden of dealing with migration, while the northern countries like Germany, Denmark, Scandinavia are sitting pretty. There is the Dublin III protocol, although it's got some benefits, and Lord Frost was a twit for not ensuring that a form of the Dublin III protocol was in place when Brexit happened, in the same way as he was a twit for not dealing with the Northern Ireland issue and therefore forcing the development of the Northern Ireland Protocol and all these and the Windsor framework and all those sort of agreements which have taken so much time in Parliament, because he didn't get it right, because he couldn't be bothered to cross the T's and dot the I's, and he was so eager to, quote, get Brexit done, that he didn't do it properly. So although I'm not a fan of Brexit, I am a fan of doing something well, and a casual desultory approach to just getting something through the door, well, you might as well be pushing an elephant into place and breaking whatever else is in the way in order to get the elephant in the room. So Lord Frost, not somebody I aspire to imitate, and in fact all the negotiators at the between Britain and the EU. But when it comes to an example of how to deal with migration, Greece is not an example that we should be following. And once again, Suella Braverman is not aware of her legal case history. She's not done her background work. Her visit to Samos is effectively an insult to people like me who have fought so hard for Greece to toe the line and to do its job properly. And as I say, I'm very sympathetic to the pressures which are put on Greece by the Dublin III Protocol. The Dublin III Protocol needs modification, but in principle its idea is very sound. But I think when it's modified, maybe we should be party, as Britain, we should be party to that modification. And that would solve, at one stroke, a lot of the problems. And in fact, Keir Starmer is already thinking along those lines. Because if we can have a decent agreement with Europe about spreading the migrants who are accepted as refugees into Europe, about spreading them across Europe and the UK, then people will be shouldering that burden equally, and we will be doing our duty with respect to the 1951 Refugee Convention. I think that is due for a revision as well. But that is a bigger question that requires a much bigger international assembly. The Dublin III Protocol, a new version of the Dublin III Protocol, which could cover Britain as well, would be extremely valuable and would repair some of the damage done by the twits negotiating Brexit.